Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and today we are going to be working on these vintage metal urns. They are currently decorated for the winter holidays. I used a lot of old brush, some old Christmas tree boughs. I had a really great time with them, just utilizing everything that I already had, which was wonderful. But it's time to really get them adapted for the spring into summer. So you'll see a lot of the decorations I pull out are faux. I use a lot of faux branches and such in the winter. I love it because all of these I just pack them up and I will reutilize them next year, which saves me a lot of money, and these do really well throughout the winter for me. Now, I always get questions about where I got these metal urns, and I actually got them from an event rental company who was going out of business, and they had a massive warehouse sale. And I actually bought four of them at the time. Two went to my friend Kristen, and two for myself. And they have these beautiful wire pedestals, which are awesome. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I am repurposing these grapevine wreaths that are wrapped with fairy lights, white fairy lights, and they have solar power to them. And instead of having them up in the circle like I did for the winter, I'm laying them just around the rim, and I think that'll look really wonderful. With spring in full swing, there is a ton going on in the garden. So you probably just saw a little bit of video of a bunch of my caladiums coming out, all the seeds and bulbs and tubers that I started from inside are coming out, which is wonderful. So for these containers, I'm leaving the old potting soil and I'm throwing in a few handfuls of compost just to re-enrich this soil. And that has worked well for me the last few years. I don't typically put plants in here that need like a ton of fertilizer. I really like to put plants in here that do just okay on their own and they don't really need a lot. I also have drip irrigation coming to these as well, so it makes watering them very simple. This is a Eugenia topiary that I did a terrible job overwintering, so it is gone for the year. And let's get started on the plants. So I really wanted to have a central plant that kind of was a wow factor and that would be there spring, summer, and fall, and then potentially even winter. Even if it's dead during winter, I still think it'll be beautiful. So I've got this red star cordyline in the center, which I think will be really pretty. Now, with that being said, I definitely want to add a lot of color as well. So I'm putting in a pink dilapidenia, which just loves the heat in this area. Red Star Cordyline has long, spiky, burgundy red foliage that adds a bold, tropical look to gardens and containers. It grows up to 3 feet tall and thrives in full sun to part shade with well-draining soil. Drought tolerant once established, it's hardy in zones 8 through 11 and often used as a dramatic focal point. Pink Dipladenia produces bright pink, trumpet-shaped flowers on a more compact, bushy plant compared to vining mandevilla. It grows about 12 to 24 inches tall, some trailing, and prefers full sun to part shade with well-draining soil. This heat-loving plant blooms all summer and is hardy in zones 9 through 11, often grown as an annual elsewhere. Alright, next I wanted to add a little bit of a blue-green color, so I'm going to be adding in Blue Days Evolvulus. This is a great heat-loving plant, and it offers true blue flowers, which I absolutely love that option. And then in addition, I'm going to be tucking in some Spanish lavender. Now in truth, I don't usually have a lot of luck with lavender. I just couldn't resist it. It smells so good, and I'm wondering if being in this container would be helpful because it drains really well. Blue Days produces soft sky blue flowers over silvery green foliage for a low spreading look. It grows about 6 to 12 inches tall and spreads up to 18 to 24 inches, thriving in full sun with well-draining soil. Heat and drought tolerant, it blooms all summer and is hardy in zones 8 through 11, annual elsewhere. Spanish lavender features deep purple flower heads topped with showy rabbit ear bracts. It grows about 18 to 24 inches tall and wide and prefers full sun with excellent drainage. Fragrant and drought tolerant, it blooms spring through summer and is hardy in zones 7 through 10. And finally, I want to add in a punch of color. So I'm going to add in a hot pink calabricoa, which I have found does better in containers than in ground for me, and a lime green sweet potato vine. I'm really hoping that the sweet potato vine and the evolvulus start trailing over the edges. Hot pink calabricoa produces masses of small petunia-like blooms in vibrant pink on trailing stems. It grows about 6 to 10 inches tall and spreads 12 to 24 inches, perfect for containers or hanging baskets. Thrives in full sun with well-draining soil and blooms non-stop with minimal deadheading, grown as an annual in most zones. Green sweet potato vine features bright chartreuse green foliage that trails and spills beautifully from containers. It grows 6 to 12 inches tall and can spread 3 to 6 feet, thriving in full sun to part shade. Heat tolerant and fast growing, it's used for foliage contrast and is hardy in zones 9 through 11, annual elsewhere. I'm pretty excited about this combination. I don't expect all of these plants to thrive in this container, but over time, I think that 3 or 4 of them will take over and be beautiful for the rest of the spring through summer and into fall. I'd love to pop out a few of the brighter colors and add some more fall tones once we hit September. So I headed over to start on another project and started clearing some things, and then I just gave up. I was really tired. So I went ahead and ended my day and then started fresh a few days later. And it was time for me to do another round of harvesting specifically on my Snapdragons. Now, these Snapdragons, I start them from seed during the summer every year. And I grow them during the summer indoors. And then I bring out the seedlings in the fall, plant them, let them grow on through the fall. Sometimes they'll give me a few blooms. And then I overwinter them outside. Snapdragons are great at overwintering. And then they give me beautiful blooms in the spring. And I will say this year I probably already harvested over, probably with this particular batch, I probably harvested 100 stems already. The key to Snapdragons is to continue to trim on them. Do not let those flowers grow old on the plants because it does signal the plants to stop growing. But I'm obsessed with Snapdragons. I think they're beautiful every year and they really bloom for quite a while. Now, harvesting flowers is something that I really want to focus joy on this year. I typically harvest flowers at the last minute. It almost ends up being a panic moment to keep them blooming, or there's not much life left in them, or something along those lines. So I'm really trying to make time to enjoy the process where I don't have to be in a hurry. And this is definitely one of those moments. I waited till the few days later when I was better rested and I had more time. And then this is right after some rainfall that we had, which was absolutely lovely. So everything was moist, the blooms were moist. It was really quite beautiful. All right, this next process is probably one of my favorite parts of Snapdragons, and that is stripping the leaves off of them. There's just something incredibly satisfying about this entire process, so enjoy these sounds for a few moments. All right, you all, I hope y'all have enjoyed today's video. There's something incredibly satisfying about harvesting a bunch of flowers that you grew from seed. Absolutely beautiful. Love them. They went inside in a beautiful blue and white pitcher that I'm obsessed with. But thanks so much for joining me today. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.